Hey, and welcome to another part of the hybrid mixing series. I'm Marty, and today I want to show you a little bit of an FX routing, how you can do it in the box-wise and of course with outboard equipment in combination with the analog console. And what I'd like to show you is today how I use my three different outboard FX units. I have a MIDI-Verb 4, a Lexicon MX200 and a TC Electronics M350, how I used it on the console with the aux ends and also with the channels, and how to bring out in-the-box effects onto two channels on the console. All right, so I would say let's get to it. All right, so here we have a session that was done quite some time ago, and I would say I'd start with the first one, which is on auxiliary send. It's the MIDI-Verb, and I use that to kind of like create a little bit of a space to have kind of like a coherent sound that the instruments, vocals, and the drums blend nicely together, and to have kind of like the impression that everything was tracked in the same room. And so I have, the basic concept is I have on the back of the unit, there is an aux end 1. Goes out with one cable into the rack, which is on the side here, into the MIDI-Verb, and it goes back out on two cables, so stereo, into the master section again, where is the return, the auxiliary 1 return. And so what I can do now is, so let's engage it. I'm gonna show you how just the reverb sounds. Bring it up a little bit. So you might better hear it with headphones, of course. Right? So it's very, very soft in the background, just to have the impression, kind of like to interconnect everything. So the instruments like guitars, bass, drums, and of course the vocals. And that's basically all this is doing. And now let's listen to the whole song with the mix. Let's mute all the other effects for now, and let's just use the one effect. So that's without. So you probably can't hear it that much. It's way in the background. It just mushes everything a little bit together. And of course, you can blend different instruments a little more in, or if you want less reverb on it, for example, on a bass or on a kick drum, you can do that. And yeah, that's basically the thing that the MIDI-Verb is doing. And I would say, let's go to the Lexicon. I have the Lexicon patched in the same way on the console. It's an auxiliary 2, so it goes out of the auxiliary send into the Lexicon and back out of the Lexicon with two cables into the auxiliary return number 2, which is here. And it sounds like that. I have it, for example, on the background vocals here. Here on the outro, for example. And what I wanted to create here, let's listen to it, and you really get the impression without the Lexicon. All right, so the part that the singer is singing, I want to have it kind of like a little bit more of a haunted feel, to really drown it in reverb and delay. And what I did on the Lexicon is I used a reversed delay and a reversed reverb, and it kind of like makes the impression of a really, really large space, and it sounds like that. So let's solo it, for example. Let's bring it up. Okay, let's play it together with the song. out. Okay, and I also have the MIDI verb on it, of course, and I also have the TC electronic on two different effects. And now comes the third thing that I want to show you is I brought the TC here onto two spare channels I have on the console. So this allows me to really dial in the amount that I want of the return of the unit. So you can really blend it nicely. And so, and of course, you can also use, for example, a little bit of a EQ, for example, when you want to have a more mellow sounding reverb or a slap delay or something like that, you can just do that with the EQ or a little bit more bass into the reverb. So basically what this is, it goes out on auxiliary 3 is the first process on the unit, it's the slap, and on the number 4, the auxiliary 4, it goes out to the second process of the unit. And it comes back mixed together in the unit on two cables, and I brought it just in on the input of those two channels here, number 23 and 24. And so what I can do now is I can blend the return signal as much as I want, okay? So let's see how that sounds. Maybe let's do that, well, let's do it on the same part here. It sounds like that, without the Lexicon first. That's just the TC electronic. Let's bring it up a little bit. Okay, so even more reverb. Let's bring also the Lexicon in. Bring that a little bit back again. Together with the original. And without those two effects. So that's the dry one. And with. And now in the track, without those. And with. So really, really wide sounding. And that's how I use, for example, another reverb unit on the console. And the third bit that I want to show you, which is another way of bringing effects onto the console, is now the in-the-box effects. You can, of course, route all the plugins, buses onto the console. You just have to have a spare stereo pair on your console. The more channels you have, of course, the easier it is to do and to sacrifice channels, for example, for instruments, drums or whatever. And I have here on 21 and 22, which is my effects returns from all the in-the-box effects. And so, for example, on the lead vocals here, I have 3 buses, as you can see, bus 1, 2, and 3. The first one is a bus that I'd like to use in vocals to get a little bit kind of like feather vocals. It's just a distortion plugin here, the Waves 1-note driver that you've probably seen in my other videos. And with this bus number 1, which is a stereo bus, I bring it out on 25 and 26. As you can see, I have multiple outputs. Of course, you need a large audio interface for that. I have on 25 and 26 the output. And this output comes in 2 cables on 21 and 22 on the console. And I have, for example, on bus 2, a double effect, which is kind of like a harmonizer effect. I have here a template where I just have a little bit of a spread, a chorus type effect on the vocals with a little bit of a detune, 6 and -6 here on the left and right. So just to make it a little wider and make it a little fatter. And the same on bus 3 with a doubler, but here just with 4 voices. Pretty much basically the same, but a little bit more of detune effect, -12 here on the sides. And so let's see how the effect sounds. So maybe let's just solo the effects for now so you can really hear what they are doing.
On rainy days, alley bells and cabaret, shaking sticks, so what a show, fresh and jolly from tip to toe, rambling down the boulevard with the fire burning in a wooden heart.
Okay, and now with the original.
Sally bells and cabaret, shaking sticks, so what a show, fresh and jolly from tip to toe, rambling down the boulevard with the fire burning in a wooden heart. My mind is set, I won't be lying, but I never really thought it'd feel as fine.
And I also did that, of course, in the chorus here, bus 1, bus 2, and bus 3. And of course, it allows me to drive it how much I want of a signal. For example, you can really overdo it.
And cabaret, shaking sticks, so what a show, fresh and jolly from tip to toe, rambling down the boulevard with the fire burning in a wooden heart. My mind is set.
And it makes quite a difference, of course, in the track. So let's pull out all the effects. And let's bring it in. Again. So that's basically everything that I wanted to show you. 3 different ways to bring an analog console the effects, or at least I do it that way. So you got the standard way with the auxiliary send and return. You can also, number 2, bring it the return of the outboard effects unit on 2 channels, on stereo channels, and you can blend it as much as you like. And the same principle, number 3, all the in-the-box effects, you can bring them out from the buses onto 2 channels on the console, and you can of course also blend it as you wish. Okay, so I hope I could give you some great ideas how you can do that in your setup, or maybe you actually do it another way. So just leave in the comments what you are actually doing. And it's basically very simple. So you got, for example, when you're mixing with stems, you can bring out the drums, the bass, the instruments, the vocals, and you can also bring back the different effects, like on the auxiliary sends, and of course also the in-the-box effects back into the DAW. So once you open up the session again, you don't have to recall the whole desk, which is actually very kind of neat. So you get the sound of the desk, and of course you also get the convenience that you just can open up the session, like I have in Logic Pro X. I have my different stems there, and I bounce from the stems then the final mix down. So as always, thanks for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and see you in the next video. All right.